to get back out there after missing the last couple of games?
Yeah, I think so. He's looked really good. Practiced extremely well. Yes, I think he's ready to go. We're glad he's back.
We've also seen Jashad Stewart out there at practice. Are you optimistic he'll be available for you this week too?
I am. Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Tom?
Hey Sam, you said on Monday that you consider Jimbo a good friend, and he repeated that same thing today. And y'all have never been on staff together, so what is it that's formed y'all's bond, I guess?
Well, it's a good question, Tom. Coach and I visited quite a bit whenever he had a job opening. So we had the opportunity to visit there. We know we have several friends. I certainly know each other, so I'm able to interact with my friends through him. Their director of football ops, Mark Robinson, he's a friend of mine, and we're able to talk. And I feel like I probably know him, sort of like you see a guy on TV, you may feel like you know him a little bit better than what you really do. But those interactions were from whenever he was looking for an offensive line coach, and he was talking to several guys. And then certainly since I've become a head coach, I've really respected him in the meetings, and we've been able to visit there and things of that nature. So a lot of that is because we have similar friends, and I feel like I know him, and everything I know about him, I like.
And we haven't even asked you this week about it being a trophy game and how meaningful the game is against A&M. I mean, how does it rank for Arkansas in terms of rivalries?
Well, I think it's a big rivalry for us. I think anytime that you've lost 9 of the last 10 games, you know what I mean? It probably means, I can't speak for A&M, but it means a lot to Arkansas because we haven't been on the winning end of it. Certainly 9 out of 10, they beat us. But it's a trophy game. As you well know, it's a big deal for us to win any of those trophy games. It's a huge deal, and we've gotten the trophy out this week and things of that nature, and obviously we got to take it down there. We certainly want to bring it back, but it means something to us. It certainly does.
And Drew's gotten a lot of publicity with his sacks and all that stuff, but Bumper is now approaching the Tony Bua all-time school record. Just, what have you seen from him this season?
It would mean everything to him if he could break that record. I mean, I know it would be. I think that was, to be perfectly honest with you, I think that was a big part of how we got him to come back. I told him when I was talking to him today, I told him there's only one guy in the world can say that they have the most tackles ever in the history of Arkansas football. And there's not many of those things, in life. And how long, if he could get it, how long he could keep it, I don't know. But, he's such a good person and good kid. And I hope that he can get that record. I think it'd mean a lot to him.
Bob?
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Hey, Bob.
Working on some on Zach Williams, and I guess you've had him now for 3 years. I'd forgotten this. When he got up here in January 2019, he was an early enrollee. He said he weighed 204 pounds. So just what do you thought of the time, since you've been here, what do you thought about his development in terms of physical and mental and just playing and all that stuff?
Well, certainly they've done a great job. He has too, as well, in the weight room and the nutrition area. But Zach, he's playing faster. I think every year, a big part of that is we have to have you a little more urgent, a little faster, finish a little better. And he's playing well this year and doing those things that we've asked him to do to make him a better player. But I would say his quickness off the ball, his finishing, all those things are better this year. And certainly, I don't know what he weighs, maybe 265 or so, something like that, somewhere around there. He carries it awful well.
And he had 2.5 sacks last year, which, that's not bad, but he's already got 2.5 now in 3 games. Well, what do you think about the increased pass rush? And he's grayed out real well against the run too.
Yeah, he really has. Again, he's played a lot of ball, and now physically he's big enough to, do what his mind wanted him to do, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, I'm really proud of him. I think he'll just continue to improve. He's playing extremely hard. So I'm happy for him.
Okay, thanks.
Right. Yeah, Coach, you got a lot of new faces on this team that haven't taken a road trip with you guys before, technically a split crowd. But how do you guys prepare them for that, and what do you go over?
Well, Trey, I'm happy that we played a night game last week, because our routine for a night game we've already done. So that I believe that helps us. It takes a little bit of the anxiety out of it. Travel wide, it's always kind of cool when you get on a plane, because there'll be, I don't know, several that's never flown, or if they've only flown once or something like that. And you'll look around there scared half to death, and all those things. And it's always kind of makes me smile, a little bit more so a few years back than now. It seems like everybody's flying around a little bit, but we did the movie. We'll go to the movies again. So crowd noise wise, I'm so happy that, we got speakers in our indoor now, and we cranked it up in the mid to high 90s. What do you call it? Decibels. And hopefully we've had it high enough this week, but we've really done a good job with crowd noise. And we've stayed inside all week. It's been hot. We brought in some cooling systems, and we've stayed inside, and we will again today. I think there might be a break in temperature, but we always go indoors on Thursday. So we may just stay. Our special teams have been outside, but, in the mid 90s, we're not trying to wear them out, any more than what a typical practice would do.
We saw Malik in this game a good bit. He played about a quarter's worth in this game last year, almost had a touchdown drive. And he's had success when he's touched the ball this season, but we didn't see him in the last game. I don't know if that's just because of the way the game played out or something, but you see continuing to use him in the role that you kind of outlined?
Yeah, we have several personnel groupings with him in for this week. And, it all depends a little bit how the game's going and different things of that nature, but we certainly are planning on using him in some formations.
Thanks, Coach.
Scotty.
Hey, Sam, I know you love it when we throw Pro Football Focus numbers at you, but Bo Limmer is up there near the top in the country at the guard position. Just how is he playing so well? What's he doing to, I guess, grade out so well?
I'm laughing, but he's playing really well. I mean, he's strong and he cares, and he's got the reps to feel confident. He's always had the athletic ability. So he's playing really well. He really is. And I think he's comfortable in there between, Wags and Stromberg, and, it says something about, guys consistently playing next to each other. They kind of understand. I had a kid one time, and he told me that his pro football grade was about 8% higher than what my grade was, and he got done, griping at me a little bit. And I said, well, tell your mom hi for me that she works for Pro Football Focus, right, or no? And so I had a good time with him on it, but, I don't know if it was his mom or his uncle. I think I might say, well, tell your uncle hello for me. He works for PFF, doesn't he? And he got my point. But listen, they're a good program, and we use them too. We use them for anything that's good. We use it in recruiting. So we're all for it. I was just teasing the other day.
Just sticking with Bo, do you have any good stories about him from the time you spent with him that maybe kind of told you who he is, what he's about?
You know, he's quiet, I really don't. It's hard to get him to smile much. He's pretty stoic kid. But in the weight room, he's a monster in the weight room. He's very, very strong and just a great kid, and really good family. And I wish I did. I don't really have any, Dalton Wagner, maybe I'd have a story or something, but the rest of them are pretty kind of stoic,
Last thing for me, I guess Landon Jackson just seems like he keeps flashing at least once or twice a week. What have you liked about him?
Getting quicker off the ball. You're never worried about a D lineman that won't punch you in the mouth. You don't worry about him. In other words, he doesn't have that quick twitch, that hip roll to move you as an offensive lineman. And when he first got here, he didn't play near as fast as what he is right now. And now you're seeing him jarring some, tackles, jarring some tight ends. He's always been able to run now. But you know how it is. It's like, why does a guy, and I don't know this, but I'm thinking, why does a guy run a 400-meter versus a 100-meter? Well, maybe it's his start. I don't know, but maybe it's his start. And in football, it's the same way. The most important thing, in my opinion, as a defensive end is to have the body frame, but you have to get off the football. And I think that's the number one thing that he's improved on since he's been here.
Coach, Nate was wanting me to ask you about Texas A&M's punter. He's coming off a really good game, and y'all have got Bryce Stevens obviously had the big long return. What do you think of that matchup? And do you think Stevens having that return maybe changes opposing team's strategy against y'all?
That one, it has to affect it. It has to affect some type of strategy. They pinned, I think, Miami's starting field position. I don't know what it was, but I think it was less than the 20-yard line. And that had most to do with the punter. And so he's an outstanding punter. I think they're really good on special teams because they have, a great punt returner, great kickoff returner, and really good athletes. So, but I thought he was a major weapon last week in the win versus Miami for him.
Sam, you can tell these kids that PFF means Pittman football focus.
I should have thought about that when he was talking to me about how much better he graded.
Yeah.
No, I tell you what it was. They gave a lineman of the week, an offensive line of the week, and he was on it. And he was like 4th graded on our team. And I'm going, I had no idea how you made that, And I think that's when I said, tell your uncle hello. He works for him, right? He's like,
but Jimbo was talking about Devin A-Chan, how do you say his name? I guess he sounds like he must be a gunner, because Jimbo was talking about how he downed those punts. And I don't know if you've watched punt coverage film or not, but what do you think about that? Having a guy like that? I mean, he seems like he can do it all.
Well, he's fast. I mean, the guy's fast, and they're just using their best players everywhere on the field. They've got their linebacker he's a gunner on the punt team at times. I mean, they use their best players all over the place. I don't think that's unusual for them. And they've got one of their best, if not their best, top. They've got a great receiver returning punts. They've got their number one running back returning kickoffs. You know what I mean? So they're just trying to win games, and I'm sure they have good depth, so they're able to do that as well.
And Nice Smith, he returned a kickoff for a touchdown against Appalachian State.
I think that was A-Chain, I think, who returned that.
Okay. Well, one of them did anyway. But you've been so good on touchbacks. How big is that people haven't returned much against you when the Aggies have some?
Well, it's huge. I mean, you either have to elect to kick it to the other returner, or you got to kick it out. You know, one or the other, and hope they fair catch it if you kick it to the other returner. The bottom line is you really don't want to cover kickoffs against Texas A&M. I mean, you'd rather give the ball to them on the 25, you know. So we'll see how we're kicking when we get down there. But it's a big, you know, we put Vito last year, we put him on scholarship just to kick the ball out of the end zone. And that's what he did. So it's very, very important.
Thanks.
Trey, what time you guys headed out on Friday? And I think you said last year, like going and visiting the venue the day before is kind of a old-fashioned way of doing things, isn't it?
Man, Trey, I wish that I had that in front of me. But if I'm guessing, we'll have dinner at 5:30. So hour and a half, 4. I'm guessing somewhere around 2. Probably we'll fly out. We'll have everything here. We'll do our subscript and our walkthrough and our meeting here. The old school way, and some people still do it. You know, they go to opponent stadiums and do their walkthrough in the stadium. You know, we don't. I did think last year about it though. You know, simply because it was something that's not a home and home. You know, it's something that I felt like indoors and all that kind of stuff, which we don't play indoors. You know, and except for this game. So I decided not to do it. So it'll be basically, we'll get there where we have about a 30-minute resting period before we eat team meal. And that's usually around 5:30.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Sam, did you detect any tangible benefits from beating A&M last year? Like, what did it result in for the Arkansas football program? How big is that?
Well, that's a really good question. I think in recruiting is a lot about confidence, you know, and I think last year we were fortunate and we beat Texas and then beat Texas A&M. I think our confidence of going into the state of Texas and saying, okay, this is what we did. I think it helped us in recruiting that way. What it meant to the kids, I'm not positive, you know, but I know for us, it was a confidence builder that we could go into the state of Texas and say, look, we've had a couple of wins, you know, including Rice in that, but you know, we've had a couple of wins in the state and you're confident going in there going, you know, why not us? Why, you know, give us an opportunity. You'll like it if you get on campus. So I think it definitely helped us as a staff in recruiting and I'm hoping that it helped the kids look at us in a different light.
Yeah, and just briefly for you, you had Muss and Coach Van Horn down there, and I guess it was a moment on the post game from that one.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. You know, it really was, and you know, I'd look like a not very good. Hopefully, nobody had found out I invited them down there if we lost. You know, but it worked out pretty good, and it really was. You know, I didn't know Moss, but I knew Dave, and Dave was always he was held like this, you know, to me, you know, and still is to have him down on the sidelines and Eric, it meant everything. And then have that moment was super cool.
All right. Thanks, man. That's all I got.
Go Hogs.